In the last decade, we have seen American politics become even more divisive than they already were. And sometimes that can get in the way of our mission to love others and even cause people to say things in the name of God and Christianity that is completely contrary to what the message of the Bible actually is. Hey everyone, I'm Colin, the resident nerd and Bible scholar here at the Bible Uncut and Unfiltered. And as we talk about some of the ridiculous things that Christians say and what we should say instead, this one gets a little bit political. I saw this floating around on social media related to the recent election. There's a couple verses out of Deuteronomy 28 highlighted in a Bible, along with the caption, "The Bible said it all." Let me read the verses to you right now. This is Deuteronomy 28, 41 through 44. "You will beget sons and daughters, but you will not enjoy them, for they will go into captivity. All your trees and fruit of the land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is with you will get up above you very high, and you will come down very low. He will lend to you, and you will not lend to him. He will be the head, and you will be the tail." And the point this person was trying to make is that there are all these foreigners in America, and they are ruining America, and the Bible prophesied this because it said, "The stranger that is with you will rise up above you, and you will be low. He will lend to you, and you won't lend to him." But is that what this passage is about? Well, no. I can tell you with 100% certainty, this passage is not about American immigration policy. This is why we say often here, never read a Bible verse. Meaning you should read the entire passage. You need to read for context and see what is going on in any given passage. And if you were to go back to the beginning of Deuteronomy chapter 28, I realize this is a long chapter, it's a tedious chapter, so I get why it's easy to just pull a verse out of context. But if you go all the way back to the beginning of the chapter, and a little bit in the previous chapter, you'll see that Moses has delivered the law, the Torah, to the children of Israel, and he has them on these two mountains, Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim. And he has one group standing on the one mountain, another group standing on the other mountain, and they're reading back and forth these blessings and curses related to the Torah. Now, that might sound a little weird to us today, but it's actually based on an ancient Near Eastern practice of ending a covenant treaty with a list of blessings and curses. The idea being, if you follow out this treaty, here's all the good stuff that's going to happen to you. If you violate this treaty and betray me as your ruler, here's all the bad stuff that's going to happen to you. So that is the way that the Torah was set up. It was set up as a covenant between it would be called a suzerain vassal treaty, with God as the suzerain, God as the ruler, and the Israelites as the vassals, as the servants. In medieval terminology, you might call it a patron and client relationship. So this is very specifically for Old Testament Israel. It's not even for modern day Israel, and it's certainly not for modern day America. God never made a covenant with America promising to bless us if we remained a Christian nation and promising to curse us if we go against an established body of writing. America doesn't have a Torah given to us like Israel did back then. And there is nothing in the Bible to suggest that any nation that tries to follow the Bible is going to be in a covenant relationship with God with the blessings and curses that come along with this. This was very specifically for Old Testament Israel, saying that if they followed these particular instructions in the Torah, God would bless them greatly. And you can read through the whole list of it. And if they didn't, he would allow them to have the consequences of their actions as the nations came in and took advantage of them. And not only is this incorrect interpretation to pull these couple of verses out and apply them to American immigration policy, it is also completely against the message of the Bible to view foreigners or immigrants as a problem that should not be in your land. The whole message of the Bible is to care for people who are in your land coming from another land. Even within Deuteronomy itself, just a couple chapters earlier, Deuteronomy 10:19, love the stranger because you were strangers in the land of Egypt, is the exact same word for strangers or foreigners or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, that is used in the passage in question, and saying to love them because the Israelites themselves were immigrants, foreigners, strangers, oppressed in another land when they were in Egypt. This is in Leviticus. When a stranger sojourns with you in the land, do not do him any wrong. Treat the stranger who sojourns with you as a native among you, and you will love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am Yahweh your God. Even in Psalms, Psalm 146:9, Yahweh watches over strangers, sojourners, immigrants. He upholds the widow and the fatherless, but the way of the wicked he brings to ruin. Malachi 3:5, I will draw near you for judgment. I will be swift witness against sorcerers, adulterers, those who swear falsely, against those who oppress the hired worker for his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and against those who thrust aside the sojourner, the immigrant, the stranger. And do not fear me, says Yahweh of hosts. It's in the New Testament too. Don't neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. The whole message of the Bible is to care for immigrants, strangers, sojourners, because they are in a vulnerable place. The very idea of someone being a foreigner or an immigrant means that they came from another land. They are not where they came from originally, and something happened to get them from where they came from, where, there's no place like home. A lot of people like to stay in the area they came from, but for whatever reason, this person is no longer where they came from, and they are in your land. And there is a chance that one day you might be in somebody else's land. And just like you would want them to treat you politely, respectfully, and to not take advantage of you, the biblical message is for us to do the same for them. Now, I realize modern American politics is very complicated, and I recognize there are no easy answers. But as Christians, we need to be very careful not to use the Bible as a weapon that hurts people who are different than us. Different is scary, and different cultures can seem weird or scary or maybe even wrong to us sometimes. But we have to remember, unless you're Native American, you are an immigrant in this land as well. So when you are talking about or posting about people coming into America who are different than you, remember to keep it biblical and show them the love and acceptance that they hope to receive in this new land.